Today, the United States Supreme Court is hearing one of the most consequential citizenship cases in generations. The case centers on President Donald Trump's executive order seeking to end automatic birthright citizenship for some children born on U.S. soil. Lower courts have blocked the order, and the legal fight has now arrived at the Supreme Court, with a ruling expected by early summer. Reuters and the Associated Press both report that the case turns on the meaning of the 14th Amendment and on whether the administration can narrow a principle Americans have long treated as settled. But this argument is not new. It is not even close to new, because more than a century ago, the United States asked a version of the same question it is asking right now. If a child is born here, can America still decide that child does not fully belong here? And in 1898, that question landed before the Supreme Court in the case of United States versus Wong Kim Ark, a man born in San Francisco, denied re-entry to his own country, forced to prove he was American in a nation that had already decided men like him were suspect. As of today, April 1, 2026, the court is hearing arguments over whether the administration's order can take effect. Reuters reports that Trump is personally attending the oral arguments, an extraordinary sign of how central this issue is. That alone tells you something important. This is not a technical dispute. It is not a paperwork issue. It is a fight over the meaning of citizenship itself. Who receives it automatically? Who must earn it? Who can be made to stand outside the circle, even after being born inside it? Wong Kim Ark was born in San Francisco in the 1870s to Chinese parents. He was born on American soil. That should have settled the matter. It did not. According to the AP, he traveled to China and on his return was denied re-entry. The government looked at a man born in the United States and said, in effect, "That may be where you were born, but that is not who we think you are." Wong Kim Ark was not trying to enter a foreign country. He was trying to come home. That is the core of this story. Identity. Who gets seen as naturally American. To understand why Wong Kim Ark had to fight this case, you have to understand the age of Chinese exclusion. The federal government had already spent years building a legal and political order designed to keep Chinese immigrants out and mark them as permanently foreign. The Smithsonian describes the case as inseparable from the anti-Chinese politics of the era. Constitutional arguments do not float above history. They arrive soaked in it. When a nation is already primed to see one group as alien, legal language starts bending to match the fear. That is when the question stops being, "What does the Constitution say?" and becomes, "Can we make the Constitution say what prejudice already wants?" The 14th Amendment says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. That sentence was written after the Civil War in order to overturn Dred Scott, which had denied citizenship to Black Americans. So from the beginning, the Citizenship Clause was about something bigger than bureaucracy. It was about preventing the state from selectively deciding who counted as fully human. The principle was upheld in 1898 when the Supreme Court ruled that Wong Kim Ark was a citizen. Birthright citizenship was not an accident. It was a safeguard. In 1898, the Supreme Court ruled in Wong Kim Ark's favor. The court held that a child born in the United States is a citizen under the 14th Amendment. This precedent has stood for well over a century, a precedent born from exclusion, from racial panic. If a principle forged in that moment can be narrowed, then the lesson is political. No citizenship rule is ever truly safe. There is a reason America keeps returning to this fight. Birthright citizenship limits the state's ability to decide, after a child is born, that the child's ancestry disqualifies them from belonging. The administration argues children born to non-citizens are not fully subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Underneath the legal polish is an older social desire, to decide that some births count more than others. Jurisdiction, status, eligibility. It all connects back to the same recurring impulse. It is worth asking what kind of country it is trying to become. One of the arguments in this debate is that the United States is an outlier. Unrestricted birthright citizenship is concentrated largely in the Americas. Many other countries rely on bloodline. But the United States did not adopt this because it was following fashion. It adopted it because the country had already learned what happens when states decide personhood selectively. It is about whether America is willing to forget why it chose this protection. Sometimes legal history gets flattened into case names, as if the people inside were merely vehicles for doctrine. But Wong Kim Ark was a son, a resident of San Francisco, a person with a life before and after the ruling. His great-grandson said Wong Kim Ark knew he was an American and that he stood up to have that citizenship recognized. This was an American man refusing to let the government redefine him into an outsider. From below, it is a family being told they may not belong. Almost everyone understands the humiliation of proving something that should never have been in doubt. The current challenge could affect more than 250,000 births annually. Birthright citizenship debates create a world where the citizenship of newborns depends on the government's assessment of their parents. Who documents parentage? Who decides temporary from permanent? The answer is almost never the state. The answer is the family, the infant, the child who grows up with uncertainty. We should be honest. This debate has always been about race. Wong Kim Ark became the test case because anti-Chinese exclusion had already defined Chinese ancestry as a national problem. Citizenship fights tend to intensify when political leaders can tie them to a visible outgroup. They are cultural sorting mechanisms. When you picture an American newborn, whose face do you see? The law rarely stays untouched. The 14th Amendment was designed to stop states from making citizenship contingent on prejudice. This is a test of historical memory. Did the country actually learn from exclusion? Did it actually mean what it said after Dred Scott? Or was that shield only meant to last until a new political moment made it inconvenient again? The present fight is revealing. Guardrails can be treated as provisional. The real question underneath all of this is simple. Does America believe birth on its soil means something permanent? Or does it believe that some children can be treated as provisional Americans? Wong Kim Ark answered it once. The court answered it once. But apparently, some questions never stay answered when the answer becomes inconvenient to power. This story is a warning that citizenship can still be reopened, a warning that prejudice always comes back wearing legal clothes. Old American debates are merely resting. Wong Kim Ark should be one of the best-known names in American constitutional history. Instead, for many people, he is still a footnote, but the footnote is where the pattern lives. A man born in America had to sue America to be recognized by America as American. It was about whether the country would allow ancestry to overrule birth, whether belonging could be canceled after the fact. The Supreme Court is hearing them again today, on April 1st, 2026. Not in the exact same form, but in the same old spirit. History doesn't just repeat, it keeps finding new paperwork. Next time on the Footnote Files, the federal government is shrinking fast. Roughly 386,826 positions gone as the administration pushed aggressive downsizing. But this is not the first time Washington made an example of its own federal workforce. In 1981, Reagan fired more than 11,000 air traffic controllers. That episode is called The Purge Before the Purge, a moment that taught the government how to break itself.